Rich Man Anāthapiṇḍada of the city of Sravasti was the brother-in-law of a prosperous merchant in Rajagriha. Once he came to Rajagriha and stayed at the merchant's house. The wealthy merchant had invited the world-honored one and his disciples to his home on the following day. Therefore, he was extremely busy ordering his servants to do this and that. Anāthapiṇḍada thought, "Every time the master of this house sees me, he lets everything go and engages in intimate conversation. Today, however, something is amiss. Is he preparing to receive a bride? Is he preparing to make a large sacrifice? Or is he preparing to receive the king of this country? Or is it a high-ranking minister?" After giving the servants their orders, the wealthy merchant for the first time approached Anāthapiṇḍada and replied to his questions. "Tomorrow morning, I am going to invite the Buddha and his disciples." Anāthapiṇḍada said, "Did you just say Buddha?" The merchant said, "Yes, I did say that." Anāthapiṇḍada said, "In this world, it is difficult even to hear this word Buddha. Can I now set out to see the enlightened one revered by the world?" The merchant said, "Anāthapiṇḍada, it is not the time to see the Buddha now. You would do well to set out early tomorrow morning." That night, Anāthapiṇḍada focused his thoughts on the Buddha. Before daybreak, he woke up 3 times. When he left the city gates early in the morning and arrived at the outskirts of the city, suddenly the sun's light was concealed, and it became dark. Anāthapiṇḍada became fearful and stopped in his tracks. He attempted to turn back. Then a voice was heard in the sky. An offering of 100 elephants, horses, or carriages, or of a maiden wearing earrings of precious gems, does not equal the merit of taking 1 step forward. Anāthapiṇḍada, go forward. If you move forward, you will gain benefit. If you retreat, there will be no benefit. And again, sunlight showed itself. This phenomenon occurred 3 times. Anāthapiṇḍada felt encouraged and advanced towards a desolate forest, where he saw the world-honored one, who appeared to be walking along the road. The world-honored one also caught sight of Anāthapiṇḍada, and, going to the seat prepared for him, called to him. He said, "Sudatta, come." Anāthapiṇḍada was elated, approached the Buddha, and bowed at his feet. He inquired, "World-honored one, did you sleep peacefully last night?" The Buddha replied, "Should you enter enlightenment and divorce yourself from desire, if you are not defiled and are pure, you will sleep blissfully. If you divorce yourself from all fetters and become free of suffering, if you enter quiescence of mind, you will sleep blissfully." The world-honored one faced Anāthapiṇḍada and expounded on the following: selfless giving, birth into the celestial world, and the benefits of freeing oneself from the misfortunes bound up with desire and its foul defilement. Gradually, he set forth the Dharma and brought the rich man's mind to fruition. Following this, he expounded the 4 noble truths. Like white unstained cloth that is easily dyed through color, Anāthapiṇḍada was dyed through with the Dharma and gave birth to the Dharma eye that perceived that all things that are born are without fail extinguished, and he was able to free himself from doubt and fear. He said to the world-honored one, "World-honored one, this is most excellent. showing the path to someone who was lost. You have opened the eye that perceives things. From now on, I take refuge in the World-Honored One, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Please accept me as a follower. Moreover, World-Honored One, tomorrow, together with your disciples, I beseech you to accept my offerings. The World-Honored One, in silence, accepted his offer. Anāthapiṇḍada, having been given the World-Honored One's consent, left his seat, bowed to the World-Honored One, turned right, and departed. The wealthy merchant of Rajagriha heard that the following day Anāthapiṇḍada was going to invite the World-Honored One and his disciples. He then said, "Please allow me to pay the expenses." But Anāthapiṇḍada spurned this offer of help. At the home of the wealthy merchant, he prepared the meal and dispatched a messenger to notify the World-Honored One of the time. Before long, the World-Honored One was at the home of the wealthy merchant. Anāthapiṇḍada personally made offerings to the World-Honored One and his disciples. After the World-Honored One had finished partaking of his meal, he said, "May the World-Honored One and his disciples spend this year's retreat at Rajagriha." He learned then that Buddhas delight in empty houses. The World-Honored One expounded the Dharma to Anāthapiṇḍada and returned to the bamboo grove. Anāthapiṇḍada had numerous friends and acquaintances, and was held in high esteem by them. On the road back from Rajagriha to Śravasti, he announced to his people, "Build a park for the monks, erect a monastery, prepare gifts. In response to my invitation, the Buddha, who has appeared in this world, will pass along this road." The people acceded to his words, and prepared to meet and greet the World-Honored One. Before long, Anāthapiṇḍada returned to Śravasti. Glancing in all directions, he said, "Is there not a suitable place, a place that is neither too far from nor too near to the village, a place convenient for both coming and going, a place accessible to all, a place that is free of crowds in the afternoon and of boisterous noise in the evening, a place that is free of people and suitable for secluded living?" And he looked here and there for such a place. As a result, he discovered the park owned by Prince Jeta. He begged the prince for it and, by spreading gold coins throughout the park forest, purchased the park. He built a monastery and covered the entire forest. He constructed rooms, storehouses, a guest house, a furnace room, a kitchen, separate toilets, a strolling area, wells, a hut for the wells, a bathhouse, a pond, and a shelter made of boughs and vines. Prince Jeta also built a two-tiered gate on the unoccupied grounds. From Rajagriha, the World-Honored One traveled towards Śravasti. On the way, he passed Vaishali and stayed at the terraced hall in the large forest. The people of Vaishali, however, urged on by Anāthapiṇḍada, had already begun the construction. They treated the disciples, who served as supervisors, with warm hospitality. Watching the people constructing the monastery, a poor tailor, sensing the auspiciousness of this event, decided to build one building himself. He kneaded mud and built up a wall piece by piece. But he did not know the correct way to build a wall. It was crooked and eventually tumbled to the ground. This repeated itself 2 or 3 times. The tailor began to grumble. The Shakya's followers oversee the construction of those who bring them generous offerings. However, they pay scant attention to the work of a poor man like me. The world-honored one heard of this, and gathering his disciples, after delivering a sermon, he ordered his disciples as follows. Disciples, from now on I allow the selection of an overseer for new constructions. Those who have been selected to serve as overseers must discharge their duties diligently, making certain that construction proceeds without error. Whenever damage occurs, they must repair it. When the world-honored one was on his way from Vaishali to Shravasti, the disciples fought with one another over rooms at one monastery. As a result, Shariputra, who arrived a little later, was unable to find a room and slept under a tree that night. The world-honored one awoke and left his room at daybreak. Seeing Shariputra, he asked why he was sleeping there. He then gathered the disciples and said, "Who is worthy of the first seat, the first water, and the first meal?" The disciples expressed their views. The Buddha then recounted the following. Disciples, long ago, at the foothills of the Himalayas, there was a huge Nigrota tree. Near it lived a partridge, a monkey, and an elephant. The three did not respect, love, or live in harmony with each other. One day, they agreed to the following. Let us find out who is the oldest one among us three. Then, let us venerate that elder and follow his teaching. Thereupon, the partridge and the monkey asked the elephant, "Friend, how far back can you remember?" The elephant answered, "When I was a child, I straddled this Nigrota tree. I remember the topmost shoot brushing against my chest." The monkey said, "When I was a child, I remember sitting on the ground and biting the topmost shoot of this Nigrota tree." The partridge said, "Long ago, in this open land, there stood a huge Nigrota tree. I ate its fruit and expelled the droppings on this place. This Nigrota tree grew from that spot. Therefore, I am the oldest among the three of us." Thereupon, the monkey and the elephant said to the partridge, "Friend, among us three, you are the oldest. You are the one worthy of our veneration. We shall follow your teaching." Friends, they received the 5 precepts from the partridge and practiced them. They revered each other and lived in harmony. After death, they were born in the celestial world. These 3 are renowned for the purity of their acts. Take note, even animals revered, loved, and lived in harmony with each other. On the other hand, you left home and came into this good teaching, yet you are ignorant of such virtues. This will not help those who do not have faith to acquire faith, nor help those who do have faith to deepen their faith. Rather, this will leave those without faith as they are, and cause those with faith to regress in their faith. Disciples, towards the elders you must observe the rules of propriety, such as obeisance and kneeling in respect, placing one's palms together, and so forth. And you must offer the first meal, the first water, and the first food to the elders. The world-honored one made his journey step by step, and when he reached Shravasti, Anāthapiṇḍada organized a colorful procession and greeted the world-honored one. He guided him to Anāthapiṇḍada monastery in Jeta Grove. The next day, he invited the world-honored one to his own home and made offerings to him. After the meal, he said to the world-honored one, "World-honored one, what do you think I should do with this Jeta Grove?" The Buddha said, "Elder, offer this Jeta Grove to the Sangha of the 4 directions, regardless of whether they come here or not." The rich man picked up a vase made of gold, poured water on the hands of the world-honored one, and did as he was instructed. The world-honored one expressed his gratitude in song. A multitude of Buddhas praise the offering to the Sangha of a tranquil monastery that protects against the heat and the cold, the wind and the rain. Therefore, those possessed of wisdom should build monasteries and offer them to people of vast learning as dwelling places. With a mind of joy, they should offer food, water, robes, and rooms to those with upright minds. Listen to the Dharma that extinguishes suffering. Then you will awaken and enter enlightenment.